You're listening to Popcorn Unscripted,
the podcast where we dive into movies and TV shows with no scripts, no filters, just real talk and plenty of popcorn.
I'm Bailey.
And I'm Dylan.
We're here to talk about everything we love
And love to hate.
in pop culture. So grab your popcorn,
Sit back.
and let's get this show started. Alright, Makenna. It's episode 16.
Episode 16.
16.
Oh, I was about to sing, and I'm feeling 16. I was like, that's not right. That's 22. Sorry.
Yeah, so Dylan's not here for this episode, little turd.
Little turd.
So
That's fine.
I had to drag
We're
McKenna in here.
Having an all-girls party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but today we're talking about not an
man.
all-girl party, but an Iron Man party. A man party.
A man that has good iron deficiency.
You're technically not wrong.
You didn't think about that, did you? I mean, he's got shrapnel in his heart. Might as
I
well.
mean, you would think the shrapnel would give him plenty of iron, since it kind of just sits there idly. You would think.
I never had to take multivitamins ever again. But he's always warm.
But, yeah.
Got good iron.
Yeah.
If you got good iron, you're never gonna be cold.
Maybe that's why he was sweating so much in that one scene.
Yeah. Well, that and he lost his heart. But anyways, other than that.
Anyways. So today we're talking about Iron Man, which is the third installment in the MCU timeline. Now, we don't have to worry about Dylan because he's seen this one, but you, on the other hand, have never seen this movie.
I've never seen Iron Man.
Never, ever.
Never,
Not
ever.
once. I've watched it like 1,000,000 times, and I was quoting it.
I know. I was like, shut up, I can't watch the movie. But, like, I already knew what was happening because she was speaking it out loud. So, like, I had, what is it? Not subtitles. Yeah, subtitles,
Sort of
but in
like
real
subtitles.
life. I had Bailey
Real life.
subtitles.
Real life subtitles.
As you're just holding up a sign the whole time.
just have, like, those note card things. Just
yeah. From the Christmas movie or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Just flip.
Oh, I love the scene.
So, what were your What were your first thoughts when you saw Iron Man? Did it live up to the hype and your expectations, or was it a surprise in some way?
So, it's kind of weird. I was like, so I've never seen the movie. I've been told that it's really good, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think the graphics in this were going to actually kind of look legit.
Yeah, no.
I was very shocked.
It very lives up to the hype for like 2008.
Yeah, for real. And I didn't think that it was going to be that good. Because, like, I've seen bits and pieces of, like, Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3, but never actually sat down and watched all of them together.
Yeah.
And so I thought a lot of these scenes that I seen were actually going to be in Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
I was like, where's this guy? What's
Yeah.
this story? But actually sitting down and watching the first movie and kind of seeing it in action and how his origin story became, and, like, I didn't understand the whole heart thing either until now. So, like, I feel more informed about it.
Yeah.
And I liked it. It was really good. To make a long story short. But, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. What about you?
Well, of course, this is one of my favorite Marvel movies. This is actually the first real Marvel movie I was introduced to. Like, of course, I've watched Tobey's Spider-Man movies and also the Sony Fantastic Four movies. I grew up watching those. But I think Iron Man was, like, the first hero that I actually genuinely enjoyed and had an obsession with for several years after that. I was 11 or 12 when I got into this movie. I remember the day when I first watched it, too. I was sitting in the living room and this movie had come on. Daddy had something on the TV. And I was sitting in there in the living room. I was just like, what's this? Dad was like,
handsome man.
Who is this handsome guy? This is where my RDJ story starts. My RDJ phase. And Dad was like, "Oh, that's Iron Man." I was just like, "Wow,
Wow.
wow,
We love him.
I love him. I'm gonna put him in my pocket. Put it in my
Whoa, hold on.
like get him and put him in my pocket, like a cutie little thing. Put him in my pocket. Not that kind of pocket. I was too young for that, Makenna. I was 11.
But I've never heard... I'm about to sound like Dylan here. I've never heard that phrase.
That phrase.
Yeah, that word, that phrase before.
Or that...
I'm gonna kidnap him and put him in my pocket. What do you mean you're gonna put him in your pocket? Run along with like a picture cut out of RBJ in your pocket?
No, but here's the funny thing. Because when I got my first, like, smartphone, I had my first smartphone, what I did was I paused the movie at, like, a certain point that I wanted as my background, and I took a picture of it off the TV and made that my background because I didn't have internet access on my phone to download the picture. So I took a picture of the TV and made that my background.
I'm just imagining, like, with the old phone, you're just, like, Back in Black's playing, and you put your phone up there to make it the new ringtone.
I actually didn't do that. Funny enough.
Oh, Lord. I used to do that. It was mostly, like, apple-bottom jeans and stuff like that with my little Samsung. And, of course, I didn't know anything about it, so I'd get one for my mom.
Yeah.
Just apple-bottom jeans. Probably super inappropriate now if I ever had that for my mother, but... yeah.
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 It would. It very much would.
Poor Bailey.
So, Iron Man kicked off the Marvel Cinematic Universe. How do you think it set the tone for the MCU as a whole? Did it feel like a solid foundation for the larger universe?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I
Looking at it from, like, not the actual timeline perspective, but actual release date perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I think, just with the release or whatever, I think a lot of people, liked Iron Man first, just because, like, I feel like he's kind of relatable in a way, you know?
Yeah, oh, yeah. He's very, very relatable to a lot of people. Which, here's the thing. He's very relatable to me because I have heart issues. You just now made that connection, huh? You just now made that connection.
Well, obviously you both couldn't make that connection, but that's why there's the heart problems.
Yeah. So it's like I could connect with him through that. We have completely different heart problems, but I could relate to him with that.
It's terrible.
It's terrible to think about, but
terrible. But I get it.
But yeah,
I get it. But I just mean like his like attitude about everything, and just like, you know, like most people were like, I'm pretty sure DC was like really popular around this time, and so like people were like having to keep their identity secret all the time.
Yeah,
and then he just flat out was like, I'm Iron Man.
But if you think about it, DC was making movies before Marvel was.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it was just
because you had the original Batman movies, because you had Michael Keaton as Batman for 2 years, and then you had Val Kilmer, and then you had George Clooney, and then you have all of the older Superman movies as well. Yeah. With, I forget their names because I didn't watch them as much as I watched the Batman ones. But
I don't even think they really even, like... correct me if I'm wrong, but they didn't even come out with Captain Marvel or not Captain America.
They didn't
come out with Iron Man.
Captain America came out in 2011.
Yeah. So yeah, this was kind of like the start of like the Marvel franchise, and I think it's very clear that when you look at the way that Tony handles himself and stuff like that, you can tell that he's just an automatic leader with the Avengers team. I keep saying Marvel, but I mean the Avengers team. Yeah. I mean, he's the genius behind it all, the plan maker, you know, and he knows what he's doing. And I think it sets up for the Avengers to become like this
big team.
Yeah, this big team. But I think we've all seen also that he's not very good at being on a team. No. But I think it's
as you see, which that's one of the things you see in Iron Man 2 is that he likes to go and take action on his own. If he knows that he can do it, he just wants to go and do it and get it done.
I think it's a learning curve for him always. I still don't think he learned it all the way through, but
of course not.
Yeah, I mean, look at spoiler alert, but look at Endgame.
Yeah.
He did it all by himself at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it kind of sets up for what the Avengers franchise is going to be, and I think he's a very iconic character to it.
He is. He will always be one of those characters you come back to.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Robert Downey Jr. just plays him so well. I mean, it's just.
And here's a fact about this. Like, this is the movie where this is his comeback movie.
Yeah, this is the one where he came back from prison, wasn't it?
It was after all of that. It was after he had gotten married to his second wife. I think this is his second wife, Susan Downey. He had got married to her, and she kind of helped him. She was kind of his, like, rehab, right. I guess, in a way. And then this opportunity kind of came up. And fun fact, they actually wanted Tom Cruise to play Iron Man. And honestly, I'm kind of glad they didn't.
I am very glad
they didn't. And they went with RDJ, because RDJ was definitely born to play this part.
Yeah.
If you look at the comics and then look at RDJ, he's literally pulled straight from the comics.
Yeah,
he looks just like him.
The comics. Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It is crazy.
It's
crazy. I love it, though. It's so cool.
It's so cool, though. And which, there's a lot of... Which, of course, Chris Evans kind of looks like Captain America straight from the comics, too.
Right.
Blonde hair, blue eyes. Right. You know. Which, I've actually noticed, after reading some of the comics, like the earlier comics, a lot of characters had blonde hair, blue eyes, because that was the thing back then.
Yeah.
That was, like, the hot thing back then, was to have blonde hair and blue eyes. Now it's more like brunettes and brown eyes.
Everybody. Well, it's more like brunettes and blue eyes.
Yeah.
I think.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not in with the times, I guess. Unfortunately.
We're too old.
You're old. I'm the one that's old.
I thought you were saying you're old. I was like,
I
what do you mean
old.
I'm old? No, I thought you meant like me. I was just old. I was like, I'm not that old.
You're not old.
Oh.
I'm the one that's old. I'm 25 years old. I'm a quarter of a century.
Ugh,
that makes me sound old. Saying I'm a quarter of a century.
I mean, I'm 23. I'm almost there.
You got 2 more years.
I got 2 more years and then I'll be there. But I have an old soul. Like, I'm about to go to bed as soon as I get home and wake up at 4:30 in the morning. And I don't want to do cardio.
So, Tony Stark is known for being a genius billionaire playboy philanthropist, but in Iron Man, he goes through a significant transformation. How do you feel about his character development throughout the film?
I think he was just kind of this guy that always had everything handed to him, you know? Like, he knew he was a genius.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of took advantage of that, because he could get whatever he wanted to, you know? But then when he got, kidnapped and tortured, and
they kind of put a new perspective.
Yeah, put a new perspective on life for him, and he kind of realized, like, I've got to get my crap together, because like what I'm doing right now is causing like pain and grief and war, and you kind of see him like growing from that situation, and you see him grow in a relationship with Miss Potts too. Like, she's always been there, but like he's never really seen her.
Yeah. And
you could tell, like, he's like, well, she's always been there for me. Like, this is my person.
Yeah.
And he starts kind of realizing that he can use his knowledge for good. And starts taking that to another level.
And you also have to think, too, he took over the industry when he was 21.
Yeah. Which is young.
Just very young. So, it's like he had never left that young mind. Like, yes, he grew and developed, but at the same time, he never left that young mind.
Right.
Because he wanted to continue his father's legacy, so he wanted to continue doing what his father would have wanted him to do. And that's what he thought he wanted his father. That's what he thought he wanted his father.
He thought that's what his father wanted him to do.
Yes.
But, speak. I mean, you look at it from the very beginning. I mean, he was supposed to accept an award, and where was he? He was at the casino. And then at the end, he was just sitting there like, I'm Iron Man. Like, I'm the guy that saved us. So it kind of shows, like, he's going to be more, like,
Which it shows that he still has his Tony Stark ego.
Oh yeah,
of course.
easily.
You're not getting rid of that.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
But yeah, he's Tony Stark.
Yeah.
You can't change the man who he is, but he does have a new perspective, and that does kind of change him for later films as well. Speaking of his ego, Tony Stark's ego is a huge part of his character. How does this movie balance his flaws with his heroic side, and what do you think the film is trying to say about redemption?
I mean, his personality is just how do I explain it? He's got, like, not a hot temper, but he's got this, like, kind of, like, cocky attitude.
Yeah.
That he can do it all, you know? And he's like, well, no matter what, I'm going to be successful.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to be successful. And you can kind of see him, like, you know, struggling in the beginning with just stuff, you know? And then his redemption was making the suit. And I think you see it over and over again when he was in the making of making the suit, especially when he went straight to 10% fly power.
Yeah.
He realized, like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna have to make this to 1% and then 2.5%. But then you also see that kind of cocky attitude where he's like, well, sometimes you gotta learn how to run before you can walk. And he just went for it. And he paid the price for it. And he learned from it. And he fixed it. And this is kind of a side note, but you know, he made Tom Holland's Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
When he designed the suit, a lot of the things that he suffered through, he put into his suit. Yeah, he put it in his suit. So, like, he put a heat warmer in there, a tracking device, and just, like, you know, this, like, everything that he never had in his, but he learned from it, and he improved it for the next person. Yeah. And I think that kind of shows you, like, that he learns from his mistakes. Yeah, and he's going to, like, redeem himself. Yeah. Even if it's not today or tomorrow, but he's going to.
And that's one of the things, too, is, like, yes, Tony makes mistakes, but he makes it a point never to make the same mistake twice. Yeah. And so that's the one thing about Tony, is that he is consistent. Oh, yeah. He's very consistent.
Very knowledgeable.
He is, which of course he gets that from his dad. Yeah. Which we saw that in Captain America. Yeah. The way his dad's mind worked. So, Robert Downey Jr. is I'm not even gonna try to say a word. With Tony Stark / Iron Man, how do you think his performance shaped the success of the film? Could anyone else have played the role as well as he did?
Sorry. I'm still laughing at that. I honestly, like you said, I think he was made for this part.
I genuinely think so too.
I mean, he's the actor himself, Robert Downey Jr., has pretty much, like, made it his life. You know, like, his personality is the same in the movie. The Tony Stark ego is the same ego that Robert Downey Jr. has in real life.
Hell, yeah.
I mean, not like to the extreme.
Not to an extreme, but yeah. He does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he lives, like, I feel like if Tony was in the real world, that's honestly what he would have lived like, was like Robert Downey Jr. Absolutely. And I think there's no one else that would have been better for the role. I mean, it's just no competition.
So like I said, I don't think Tom Cruise could have done a better job than Robert Downey Jr.
No,
did.
I felt like...
And I'm glad Jon Favreau went with RDJ.
Yeah. I felt like a lot of people, when they get superhero roles, they have to take it, like, super serious. And, like, Robert Downey Jr. was like, I'm going to take this, accommodate to it, and we're going to make it, like,
it's like I had told McKenna earlier, one of the facts about this movie is that the script wasn't even finished when they started filming. So a lot of this movie was pretty much improv.
Yeah, and you would never know unless you had looked it up. Yeah, it just flows so great. Like, he just does a great job at playing the Tony Stark. And I wouldn't have changed it for anything.
I wouldn't change it a single bit at all. So Iron Man marks a major turning point for RDJ's career. How do you think this role influenced both his personal journey and his
oh my god,
trajectory as an actor?
Well, I think it really put him in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I mean, he did so good in this movie. Didn't he win like some awards and stuff based off of this movie?
I don't know if he won any for Iron Man or not. I actually don't know what awards he's won for Iron Man specifically, but I know that he's won quite a few awards since doing Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, it just put him on a path of being known, and
it put him on a better path than the one he was on.
Oh yeah,
and I'm super grateful for that.
Oh yeah, I think that he turned his life all the way around. And I think that the other movies that he did, like whenever you see him, he's just such an icon. Mm-hmm. And it's every movie most of every movies that he plays, he does a really fantastic job accommodating to it.
Even in the movies that he had done prior to Iron Man, that I've seen so far, such as The Singing Detective is a good one. That's the first one that comes to mind. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, that he does that one with Val Kilmer. That's like a buddy cop film that he does, which is really funny, by the way. Highly recommend go watch it. And then there was one that he did. It's not coming to me, but I'll probably think of it when I'm not. Look, it kind of has a similar vibe to Hairspray, but it's like more adult. Or maybe not Hairspray. Maybe I probably shouldn't compare that to Hairspray. But then there was also one that he did called Ghosts, which was really good, which I'm surprised I didn't watch that growing up because it's such an adorable movie. So basically, he plays this young kid who could see ghosts, and this group of ghosts try to get him to remember because they were like his imaginary friends.
Right.
That's how they were portrayed as, and then he starts to see them again after he had gotten older. And so now he has to help these ghosts move forward with their lives, help them get closure that they couldn't do when they were alive. It was just such an adorable movie. I loved it so much.
They would be like, I can't move forward without you marrying me. You and Pedro Pascal.
Funny enough, they took a picture together and I was ecstatic.
I bet it's your wallpaper.
No, it's actually not, but Fantastic Four is my wallpaper right now, but...
I know you're excited for that movie.
I am very excited.
Also,
for
can we mention that it's coming out on my birthday?
Actually, a day before your birthday.
A day before my birthday.
But that's Fantastic 4 weeks, so.
Sorry, Makenna, you're on the back burner.
Oh man, not again. Not again.
But it's the big 24. See, I'm clashing with it. Fantastic Four 24. It's working.
It's okay. I got you a present already.
Oh, really?
I do.
Is it a kiss? Oh?
She might have guessed it, guys. She might have guessed it.
Jason, don't listen to this part. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry.
Anyway. But yeah, this was certainly a turning point for RDJ, and I'm super proud to be a fan of his, and I'm super proud of the person he's become since then. And we really have Susan Downey to thank for that.
Oh, I know. He's like the grandpa of the MCU.
He is. He's the godfather.
He's the godfather.
He's the godfather.
I mean, they just can't get rid of him.
No,
he's about to be in Doomsday.
Yeah, and he's playing Dr. Doom too.
Yeah, I know, which is crazy.
But here's another fun fact about that too: is that in the Sony Fantastic Four movies, instead of the guy that did end up playing Victor Von Doom, RDJ actually auditioned for that part.
Really?
He did, and that's why they have him playing Doom in Doomsday. Because he had auditioned for that part all those years ago. So now they're giving him his chance to play his Doom.
That's so cool.
Which I don't think many people know that about that movie.
I didn't know that. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard that it's really good, and I've heard other ones saying, please let him retire.
Of who?
Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Doom. I've heard two different things for it. I've heard, like, it's awesome, and I've heard that he needs to retire.
Well... The people have their opinions, but honestly, in my opinion, I'm excited for it. Yeah, I'm excited to see what he does with Doom, because Doom is such a powerful character, and RDJ has proved that he's a very powerful actor when he wants to be, and he does his research.
Oh, yeah.
He's
already dressed up as it, and already making, like, having that, like, kind of attitude with it, and everything, and I'm super excited, but I don't know much about the Doom franchise, or the Doom, like, I guess...
Which Doom I actually don't know when Doom was first introduced, honestly. I want to say Fantastic Four, but I could be completely wrong.
I just know...
Because Doom is more associated with the Fantastic Four, I think.
Right. And this is a gross warning, but I hope that they come to the beginning of this movie to where he meets Thanos and rips out his spine. Like they do.
His skeleton, yeah.
Yeah. Like they do.
That's such a cool scene, though.
I hope they do it, because then it would be kind of like Robert Downey Jr. really got his revenge.
He's got his revenge.
He really got his revenge with Thanos. He said, "Snap fingers, who?"
Russo brothers, you better be listening.
Yeah, you better.
Because seriously, that would be absolutely awesome.
You would make everyone lose their minds.
They would lose their minds.
Easily, dude.
Really. Easily.
You would have sold out tickets just for that.
Yeah. I would buy a ticket just to watch Thanos' spine get ripped out.
Yeah, and then I'd leave, and then I'd come back and rewatch it again.
Yeah. I'd leave and then buy another ticket and then watch it again.
Yeah. And then again.
And then again.
And then again. And then I have to be like, Bailey, please stop!
No, we don't stop!
Bailey, please! I'm getting a headache.
So, moving on to the villain, Obadiah Stane. So, he is the main antagonist in Iron Man. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about his motivations and the dynamic between him and Tony Stark? Is he a compelling villain, or does he serve as more of a plot device?
I would say he's a compelling villain.
Compelling villain?
Yeah, that word. See, I struggle too. I think that he's more like, you know, a compelling villain, because it kind of goes to show, in this movie specifically, it shows you the difference between someone that is super duper smart and can learn from their mistakes versus somebody that just wants to do a cheap write-off.
Yeah. And just wants to make money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he wanted to destroy Tony Stark because of it, you know?
Which Obadiah wanted to take over the company.
Yeah.
That's why he put the hit out on Tony, because he wanted to take over the company, because...
I guess he thought he deserved it more, I guess. But, I mean, we can sit here and go, like, you know, back and forth about, like, what is it, Hydra? With Captain America and stuff like
Hydra.
That? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of goes back to that, too. But, I mean, at the same time, in my opinion, I could see him already being the villain in the beginning of the movie. Like, when I saw him. It's
always the bald guy.
It's always the bald guy with the nice beard that wears, like, a black suit. But I'd always, even without watching it, I could tell that he was going to be the main villain.
Yeah.
And when I saw that the suit got destroyed in the sand when he fell into the desert and stuff, I knew it was going to come right back up.
Yeah.
I just knew. I knew that they were... I kind of could tell, like, what was going to happen. And then watching him at the end doing all this stuff, like, yeah, he made it a little bit better than Tony Stark did, but he didn't account for everything as Tony Stark did. And so it kind of goes to show you how smart he is and how much he does
It really
learn.
shows how incompetent Obadiah was.
Yeah.
Because he didn't think, oh, Tony could have made upgrades after this, or Tony could have built something better after he got out of the cave.
I mean, you heard
He didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I mean, you heard him say, because I know you quoted it because I listened to it, that Tony Stark, it's not possible, Tony Stark made this in a cave.
Oh, no, because Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Yeah. I mean, like, it just shows you, like, he has somewhat respect for Tony, but he also kind of undermines his ability.
Yes. Yeah. Which that also shows how smart Tony is, because even Stark Industries' top engineers couldn't make the arc reactor smaller. That couldn't even figure out how Tony made it smaller.
Well,
into a small, compact little thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird, though, because the guy who made it first, what's his name? Yudin?
Yinsen.
He made that with a car battery, you know?
He made it out of a electromagnet.
Yeah.
Is what
he used the electromagnet with
and
the
it
car
was powered
battery.
with a car battery.
Yeah, and then Tony went and improved it. Mm-hmm. And then he improved it again.
He was like, wait, I can improve this.
Yeah. And so I think it goes to show you, like, just how much he can think ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the guy just stole it, I mean, it was just kind of like, okay, well, I'll just go back to the old one.
Well, I'll just go back to the old one. It's
I'll go
probably
back to
not
the
going to
old
work
one.
as good, but, and you know.
Oh, well, I'll still kick your butt with it.
And I
And
bet
he
he
did.
was very grateful for Pepper to not throw it out like he had told her to.
Dude, when I saw it, I about cried because I watched Endgame.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, I almost cried like a little baby.
Because now you know where that comes from.
Now I know where it comes from, and I about cried.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my god, that's
Yeah.
so bad. But, yeah,
Now you know the origin of Tony Stark.
now I know the origin of it, and now I want to go and watch all of them tonight, and I know that I can't. I might have to do a binge watching this weekend and just watch all of them.
Just watch a bunch of them. Start from Incredible Hulk, which is where the next one which is the next one in the timeline, and then just go from there. So, how do the battle sequences between Iron Man and Ironmonger, who is Obadiah, that's what we call his suit, compare to other superhero film climaxes? Does it feel earned, or is it just a typical final showdown? It's actually a really good question.
That's a really good question. I'm gonna go based off of because I know
you haven't seen a lot of
I haven't
Marvel
seen
movies.
a lot of them, but I've seen a lot of DC movies.
Yeah.
All right.
Or just just do it general.
Just in general.
Just a generalization.
Yeah. So when I watched this movie, I thought it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Did I think it was the best fight scene?
No. It's definitely not the best.
It's not the best fight scene in the movie. The best fight scene to me in the movie was when he went there to the first time.
To Golmira? The place where he saved the kid's dad?
Yeah.
Stuff? Yeah.
That was my favorite.
When he first suited up
When
for,
he first
time.
suited up, that was the moment for me that made it really good.
Mm-hmm.
But when he went against the other dude, like, I didn't feel the same energy. Like, it was just kind of like, cool. Like, whatever.
But you also have to think he didn't have a lot of power because he was using his old arc reactor.
Right.
So I can kind of see why it wouldn't have the same energy as the fight previous.
Right.
Because he wasn't at his full power.
But I did think it was cool when he used his heart thing to make the blast. I thought that was kind of cool.
His chest arc.
Yeah.
Where he's like convert power to chest arc and then boom!
Boom!
Like straight from his chest.
Yeah.
I thought that's like one of his iconic moves is his chest blast.
But I think that part was really cool to me, and the other scene, but like the whole other fight scene, I don't know, it just didn't hit for me. But I think that's just because there was already so much action in this movie that when you get towards the end, it's kind of like meh.
Yeah.
But it's still good. I mean, it's not.
It's still good. Yeah. It holds up.
Yeah, it's still better than some of the other movies we've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think the final scene was my favorite scene, but it was still good. It just wasn't my favorite of the whole movie. But that's just a personal opinion.
Yeah. So speaking of the suit, so the Iron Man suit is of course iconic, but what do you think it represents in the film? Not just as a tool for fighting, but as a symbol for Tony Stark's transformation.
I'm gonna go off of. I know it's later on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to go off of the scene from Spider-Man.
Okay.
If you can't be a hero without the suit,
then you don't deserve
the suit at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in his mind, even without the suit, he could be a hero. And it goes to show that he can be.
Yeah.
I think from where he was in the beginning, where he was just
building the suit from scraps.
Well, I mean, like, making the missiles and stuff.
Yeah.
He never thought about the consequences behind it.
Right.
What could actually happen and if it ended up in the wrong hands.
Right.
Then he realized it. And then he realized that, I'm about to get really deep here, everyone in this world will always find something to do evil with it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you choose to do something good with it, then you can be a true hero.
Absolutely.
And that's what he did. He said, I'm going to make a suit. I'm going to be the hero because I know that I can be the hero.
Mm-hmm.
And that I can do good. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
And I think it represents him as a human being.
It does.
So,
absolutely.
That's the way I see the suit. I don't think the suit necessarily reflects him as being a hero. I think it necessarily reflects him
personally.
Yeah, as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can agree.
Yeah.
So, how do the special effects in Iron Man, especially when it comes to the suit's creation and action sequences, hold up today? Do they still look impressive, or has the technology evolved beyond it?
Oh, I think it's fantastic.
For 2008, yeah.
2008, fantastic.
Absolutely.
I could have thought some of that was real. And I think some of the explosions were real.
A lot of the explosions are real, yeah.
When you look at stuff now that's CGI, you can really tell. And it kind of went downhill, but, like, I understand, like, you know, if you just go to, like, you know, the mountains or whatever, and you do blow up something, it's a little bit frowned upon.
They actually shot in the desert, too.
Yeah.
They actually shot in the desert I'm guessing Arizona?
Yeah.
I'm guessing is
but,
where
like,
they would shoot.
If you did that now, it'd be kind of frowned upon.
Yeah.
But I think back then, like, it was fine.
Because nowadays, I feel like people have really restricted filmmakers to be able to go to places and film, especially in America. More so in America than anywhere else. Because anywhere else, you can get a permit and you can just go do what you gotta do, and then you're you know. But here in America, they've been really restrictive of what you can and can't film. And honestly, it's a shame.
Yeah. And we have so much access to, like, AI and CGI.
Yes.
And I get it. Like, it's easier, it's probably cheaper to use, and it's more simpler, you know?
Yes.
And I get it.
But you can't knock practical effects.
Yeah, you can't make it look super realistic unless it's actually real.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man. And, you know, that's what I like the most about it. You could tell some was CGI. But you could not tell a lot of what was CGI and which one wasn't. But yeah, that was something I was going to talk about. I think that I think that's the reason why I like the John Wick movies so much, because
it's all real.
Yeah, it's all it's not real.
Oh, not all real, but a lot of it.
If it's real, don't ever let me mess with this puppy. But yeah, no, I think, like, they actually go to some of these locations and actually like film there. And I think that is the reason why they're so popular. And I think a lot of the movies that have a lot more live action kind of stuff like that, things that they actually do, is really popular. I mean, look at Batman Rising. One of the most iconic scenes is the Joker blowing up the hospital.
Yeah.
And that scene, I don't know if you know, but where he pressed the remote, it actually didn't go off when he pressed it.
I
think
so you were dealing.
He improvised it.
Yeah,
and it happened, and it was best. It was the best scene in the movie because it was just so funny because it's so Joker material. But I think that it goes to. I think it makes a better movie when it happens like that.
Yeah,
but I think, like, looking
happy
at now,
happy
little accidents. But I think a lot of movies have kind of lost that spark, and I think that's the reason why, especially for me, it's a lot harder for me to get, like, to sit down and watch a movie.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to sit down and watch anything new, because it's just like, it just doesn't hit the same.
Yeah,
it never hits the same. But there was one thing that I believe it was Dakota Johnson had said in an interview. She had said the only reason movies are so bad is because the people making them don't watch movies. Yeah. Or she said something similar to that. And I was just like, yeah, that's actually, yeah.
I mean, I agree with Webb.
Yeah.
Bless her.
They actually, bless her heart.
Bless her.
But,
I mean, wasn't she in 50 Shades of Grey?
Yes.
Somebody.
And from what I've heard is that she actually regrets that role. I think she said that somewhere. I could be totally wrong.
I mean, I kind of get it.
I kind of get it too.
You kind of,
because now she's known as the 50 Shades of Grey girl, and, you know.
Well,
that's what she's known for.
Yeah, I mean, you get introduced to the industry being the sex model actress,
and
then when you want to do other roles that are a little bit more serious, you don't get taken seriously.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's why I think she was in her element in Materialists, which you haven't seen the movie.
I haven't. No spoilers.
But it's really good though.
No spoilers.
Then don't listen to our latest episode then.
But it's really good.
But it is really good. I think you would enjoy it.
Oh,
I think you would.
Oh.
It's not that kind of movie, I promise.
No, I know that.
It's actually a really deep movie.
It kind of reminds me, when they were getting described to me, it reminded me of that one movie that had Hugh Jackman and someone else.
I think I know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah, where she had to pick between those two guys.
Yeah,
Well, but I don't remember what movie it's called.
Yeah.
But I that's the mind that it put me in. I just can't remember the movie on top of my head.
Yeah. So, moving on. So, Tony Stark's journey is also about self-awareness. How do you feel about how the film portrays his personal growth in recognizing his responsibility as a hero?
Well, I think we've talked about it a few times.
We've already talked about that, but
yeah, I think it reflects. I think it shows him growing up.
yeah.
To make a long story short, I think it just shows him growing up from where he was this kid and taking life super relaxed and lackadaisical and not thinking about consequences, and then he got a newsflash and saw what could actually happen, and it made him become the person that he is now.
And I think the relationship between him and Jensen as well kind of opened his eyes too, because him talking with Jensen and actually getting Jensen's perspective of things actually opened his mind to stuff as well. And it kind of, which of course, and Tony didn't even know about his family.
Yeah.
And so when he died there at the end of that scene, I think he was like, okay, I think a switch flipped in his mind, and he was just like, okay, I'm not letting this go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let this go.
I mean, think about it from your point of view.
Right.
You worked with somebody that's like helping you get through this. And then, he talks about his family, and he says, like, so you have everything but a life.
Yeah.
Because your family's your life at that point.
Yeah.
And then, he risks his life, and he's like, this has been the plan the whole time.
Yeah.
And then
he tells him.
And then he tells him, like, my family's dead.
Yeah.
And I think Tony realized, like...
Which, and of course, Jensen also tells Tony, don't waste your life.
Yeah. I think he's like, don't waste your life. Just keep on living. I think mostly because of him or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and this brings me back to Endgame. He lived his life. And then he sacrificed it all for the rest of the world to live theirs. And I think that goes
just
to show...
as Jensen did for him.
Yeah. And I think that goes to show, like, how much he's grown
and
as
then,
an
of
individual.
course, you have that one line with Pepper in Endgame. You can rest now.
Yeah. Just so sad.
It was so sad.
I hated it so much. It made me want to cry.
That made me cry. It actually didn't make me cry, though.
Oh, I cried like a little baby. I was in the theater.
It's actually very hard to make me cry, so if a movie makes me cry, you know it's good. But Endgame did not make me cry.
Infinity War and Endgame made me cry. But I was also, like, in college and I was alone. So.
Yeah.
I was very emotionally unstable.
I was very hormonal.
I was already emotionally unstable, and then I came out with this and just made it even worse. Oh, man.
But, moving on, so Pepper Potts and Colonel Rhodes and Happy Hogan all play significant roles in Tony's life. How do you think the supporting characters help define Tony Stark's character? Do they feel like fully developed characters in their own right?
So in this movie specifically, I don't think Happy had a big part.
No, not in this one. He didn't.
Not in this movie. I think... what's her name? Meredith Potts? No, not Meredith Potts.
Pepper. I know where you got Meredith from,
that's
though.
Terrible. I'm so sorry.
It's
Pepper. Pepper Potts had a very significant role in this movie for him. I think, like, he realized that he really liked her, and I think it goes back to, like, start a family, and, like, when he saw her, he was like, oh my god, like, she's always been there for me. So I think she played a really important role to him. The other dude, like, the guy... Rhodey. That's the villain, right? Or, no, that's the other guy.
The Colonel, yeah.
The Colonel, this is what we were talking about.
He's like the best friend.
He got replaced. The actor did.
Yeah, the actor did. I'm still not sure what the reason was, but I know it was because him and RDJ had conflict, and that's why he ended up getting replaced with the guy that ended up being in Endgame.
Yeah. And I think in this movie...
Don Cheadle, that's his name.
Yeah. I think in this movie you can kind of, like, feel that conflict a little bit.
Yeah.
Because when you see the other dude in the other movies, you could really feel that family... that friendly connection.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, like, where I'm coming from, is that this one in this movie didn't have that much influence. Like, he just kind of was, like, just kind
Brody
of...
was just kind of like a side piece.
Yeah. Oh. Alright. But you can still kind of tell, like, he cared about him, but he just didn't... He was also mad at him how irresponsible he was.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you could kind of see him, like, loosening up. But, like, the actor himself just didn't act like he was loosening up. So, but I think overall, they both had a big influence in his life. Especially Happy later on in the series. I mean, he pretty much, like, asked him to take care of Peter Parker. Which is so sad in the next movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for the next Spider-Man to come out. I'm so excited.
I know it. Let's see. So how does Pepper Potts serve as more than just a love interest? What do you think her role is in helping Tony Stark become the hero he is?
I mean, she's always been his assistant.
Yeah, from the get-go.
Yeah, but she knows so much about him. She even knows his social security number.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
She knows 5.
And a few other digits.
And a few other digits. I think you're missing a few other digits.
Yeah, I don't even think mine starts with a 5. But, you know, she knows everything about him, and she knows that he pushes himself a little bit too hard. And I think in this movie specifically, it just felt like a really good friend. And you can kind of see it going from friends to lovers.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about this movie. That's kind of how I felt that it was going to be persuading too. But then you see later on in the series that she becomes an even more significant role in his life. I think it was like his heart. She requested him to do something with it or whatever. If I'm thinking correctly. Probably not.
No.
She asked him to give up the superhero thing in Infinity War, didn't she? Or in Endgame?
No, that was... I don't think she really ever asked him to do that. More so, in Iron Man 3, she wanted him to kind of, like, give up the suits because he built a bunch of suits from the trauma that he had after the Avengers. And so he kind of that was just kind of his coping mechanism. And so she felt like he was focused more on that than on her and their relationship at the time. Which, of course, you see that more in Iron Man 3 than you do in Iron Man 2, honestly.
Yeah. Which
they are together in Iron Man 2, but you see more of their relationship in Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
And what it's blossomed into.
Yeah. Like, you can kind of see it, like, sparking in this one, but then, like...
You can see it kind of sparking in Iron Man 2. They kind of go through a rough patch in Iron Man 2, because of something that happens to him. But, yeah. Yeah. I don't think she ever asked him to give up the suit. Not to my knowledge. I don't think she ever asked him for that. Because even in, Actually, no. So what happens is he gives up on his own.
Yeah, I knew that.
In Infinity War, he gives it up on his own. But then you see at the beginning of Endgame, he ends up making a suit for her.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, so he hasn't given it up completely.
Yeah.
So it's more so like he started fighting for his family and not for the whole world.
Yeah.
So it's like
and
he gave up on the world.
In Endgame. And then she wore the suit in Endgame.
Yeah, she did. She did ultimately wear it. Yeah. So, Iron Man is often credited as the start of the MCU. How do you think it laid the groundwork for the larger universe, and did you expect this movie to turn into such a massive franchise? Which I don't really think you could answer that, but...
No.
Not really.
Not really. I mean, I kind of know that he's like a main person in MCU, especially with It's not Civil War. Is it Civil War?
There is one... There's Captain America Civil War.
The one where it's him versus Captain America.
Yeah, that's Civil War.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of see just how important he is with some of the Avengers, because you see him getting split in half.
Yeah.
And I know he's important in that area as well, and then, you know, he's very important in Endgame and in Infinity War.
Like, he's been
it's just a big part. Yeah.
He's been a big part of the story since the start.
Yeah.
He's
just been a big...
some people say that now that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is now part of the MCU officially, they're like, oh, so this is the start of the MCU now. No,
No.
it's not.
It's
because
always been Iron Man.
It's always been Iron Man, and it always will be Iron Man.
Because technically saying Tobey Maguire had nothing to do with in that series.
Yes,
with Marvel.
Yeah, it had nothing to do. Sony made those movies.
Yeah, Sony made those movies. It doesn't even talk about anybody else in the other.
It might be a part of the Marvel universe now, but it's completely separate Earth from
it's
our
completely
Earth is.
separate. He didn't even know what the Avengers was.
Yeah, it was like, who?
Who's the Avengers?
Like
That's
him
cool.
and Andrew Garfield both.
Yeah.
So that just leads me to believe the Avengers doesn't exist in their worlds either.
Yeah, it might be that's the start of their world, but it's not the start of the world that we're currently in.
Exactly.
On where we're at watching.
Yeah.
Whatever, what is it? Earth 53, whatever.
616.
616. We see it in there, but we don't see the other stories. So I mean, to make a long story short, this is the beginning of Marvel.
Yes.
But yeah, he plays a significant role all the way to the end, and we still don't know what's, just Robert Downey Jr. in general. We don't know where he's gonna take us, especially with Doom.
Yeah.
So.
And he's got 2 movies for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed.
So, Tony's engineering skills and genius play a huge part in the film. Do you think the portrayal of his intellect is believable? How does it contribute to his development as a hero?
I mean, it makes him very smart. I mean, he's very smart. You can tell. I mean, he made the suit from scratch. He knew the materials from the back of his, not the back of his head, but you know what I mean.
He
knew the materials, what was
like
the
back of his hand.
Yeah, that's the word I was going for.
Back of his
the back of the hand. He knew what materials were going to be ice resistant, and then later on you can see he knows which ones are going to be heat resistant, and he knows which ones are going to be more durable and lightweight, and it automatically makes him, to make this cool suit.
Yeah.
And I think either way, like, if you took the suit off of him, he would still know, obviously, he would still know ways to make weapons.
Yeah. He
would.
would.
Use against people.
Because if you think about it, he had to know what parts were in each thing that he had access to him there in the cave. He had to know all of his product in order to be able to even build what he built.
This guy is super intelligent.
He is. But here's the thing. He's not the smartest man of the MCU.
Who is?
Reed Richards. Reed Richards is the smartest man in the universe.
Who's Reed Richards?
Fantastic Four. Mr. Fantastic. He's Mr. Fantastic. I don't even know why I'm trying to explain it to you.
I don't know which one that is. I don't know if that's the fire dude, the rock dude, or the
Mr. Fantastic stretchy dude.
Oh, okay. So we're
Reed
talking
Richards.
About Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
Okay.
He is the smartest man in the world. Which also in the comics, he is portrayed as the smartest man in the universe. I think, if I remember correctly, him and Tony kind of butt heads a little bit.
I thought you were going to say it's like Vision. Or Doctor Strange.
Well, Iron Man and Doctor Strange kind of butt heads too, but there's a reason why they butt heads, because Doctor Strange is more on the mystical side, whereas Tony's more on the technological side.
Or Bruce.
No, Tony and Bruce are like that. They're like best friends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like into intelligence-wise.
Intelligence-wise, him and Bruce are kind of on the same level. Whatever I said. Same level. They're kind of on like the same level of intelligence, because Bruce is really smart too.
Yeah.
As well as Smart Hulk that he ultimately turns into. But yeah. Anyway,
we love that.
Yeah. So anyway, the post-credit scene in Iron Man introduces Nick Fury and teases the Avengers Initiative. How do you think that scene impacted the direction of the MCU, and were you excited for the possibilities it introduced?
Well, obviously, it was going to make the Avengers.
Yeah.
Gonna make the Avengers. I mean, now you're like probably sitting there like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Who the heck is this guy? And then it comes out with Captain America, and you're like, what? And then it keeps getting introduced. Well, you have the Hulk next. But anyways, then you get introduced to a lot of these other like characters, and you see them getting into Avengers, and
I actually think Thor and Captain America came out the same year.
Yeah. I don't know. But
I don't know.
I have seen Thor.
You have seen the first Thor?
I have seen first Thor. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you get to see, like, kind of where they're all starting, and you can kind of tell, like, this is going to be, like, the next chapter. Like, you get the origin stories, and then this is going to be chapter 2.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting. But we also know Nick Fury from Captain Marvel, and it was so funny, because there was still 3 little claw marks above his head, his eye, when it...
Which, of course, in Iron Man, they're more prominent than they were in Captain Marvel, because, of course, this was the first movie Nick Fury was actually introduced in, was this movie. Yeah. So it wasn't until, like, of course, later on in the years that they actually were like, how does Nick Fury get his eye, like, why does he wear
How does he end up the head of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah. How does he end up as head of S.H.I.E.L.D.? How does he start the initiative? Like, how does he get his eye cut out or whatever? You know?
I mean, I feel like it wasn't important enough to give him his own movie, but, like, it was important enough to kind of
include him in another story.
Yeah.
To kind of give him a backstory in a way. So, final question of the night. After watching Iron Man, do you think it was the perfect start for the MCU, or do you think another film could have launched the franchise in a different way?
Well, deep down inside.
Deep down,
we are kind of going in order.
Yeah, we are kind of going
in order.
But of course, this is timeline order that we're going in, because it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
So the order that this question would be referring to is, like, the order of release. Like, the order of release is really what it's talking about. And,
I mean, I like the way they released it, because you're kind of getting introduced to, like, the main...
It's like a good starting point.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting introduced to, like, the main Avengers.
Yeah.
And then you kind of start introducing, like, all these other variants, like Captain Marvel, and then you get Doctor Strange, and then you get, Scarlet Witch.
You get Black Panther.
You get, Ant-Man. And all these other characters, you know, and then it kind of leads up to, like, Endgame. I mean, you got the Guardians of the Galaxy, too.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of different
you also have not Scarlet Witch, you just said her. Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Yeah. Which is weird that they didn't make them also an origin story.
Now, they did for Black Widow, but for Hawkeye, not really.
Well, they have a TV show.
Yeah.
For Hawkeye. But I'm talking about just, really, like, during the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, during that same time.
Like, why did they not make us, like,
I guess it was because they're not
as
important in the role, but...
Which is why people think... That's why people kind of hate on the movie Black Widow so much, because that story should have been told, like, so much earlier on.
A long time ago.
And then they all of a sudden were just like, oh, we're going to tell the story now.
Yeah.
After Endgame. Because that movie came out after Endgame.
I know, it's just so weird.
Like, and the Black Widow takes place after the events of Captain America Civil War. It takes place right after that. She's on the run and everything. And it's just like, why are you making this now? Why didn't you make this movie after Civil War?
Yeah.
It's like, that just doesn't make any sense to us. But
yeah. But I guess, like, kind of too, like, I guess it wouldn't have brought in a lot of attention, I guess, in a way. Because if you look at the comics, she doesn't play that much of an important role.
No, she's kind of
just a side character.
Yeah.
But she's also kind of the flirt of the Avengers. Because I think she started dating, like, the Hulk, and then she was also, like, dating Captain America and was flirting with Tony Stark and all that as well.
No.
Yeah, she had a big crush on Captain America in the comics.
I know her and Hulk had a relationship, but I didn't. Yeah. And I know her and Captain America kind of had, like, a flirty thing going on, but with Steve Rogers, it was always Peggy that had his heart.
Oh, yeah, Peggy's always had his heart, but I mean, he always had, like, a fling with her. And I think they kind of show it, too, kind of in the
As for Tony Stark, I don't see that.
I think he just had a lot of respect for her.
Maybe, yeah, because Iron Man 2 is where you first see Black Widow come into place, and you kind of see how their relationship comes in, which, of course, I would consider her and Tony kind of like best friends in a way. They kind of like love-hate relationship.
Yeah. I guess my
It's very
other
funny.
question is, poor Hawkeye. He just kind of shows up out of
He's just kind of
nowhere.
he's just kind of
He's just kind of here, and he's like, "Whoa,
he's
who
just
are
like,
you?"
whoa, what's
Who are
going
you?
on?
I
Why
know
am I here?
I know that.
Why am I a part of this?
Yeah, where'd you come from? What is the Green Arrow just came out, but I didn't think Green Arrow was part of Marvel.
It's not. It's part
I
of
know.
DC.
I'm just saying, like,
But yeah.
well, I guess there's the Green Arrow, and then you start doing research, and you're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
that's not part of this universe.
Wait a
but
minute.
yeah, I wish they kind of had made it all of their origin stories in the beginning. I think it would have made a lot more sense. But I'm also not a director and a producer, so
Yeah.
what do I know?
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
I'm also not mad at how they did it either.
No, I think
Because
it's-
I grew up with all of these movies.
yeah,
I grew up watching them all, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't change what they've done.
Yeah, I wouldn't have changed anything either. I would have kept it the exact same. But yeah. Thanks everybody for listening.
That's all for today's episode of Popcorn Unscripted.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PopUnscripted, then Popcorn Cinema on Facebook.
And let us know your thoughts or any suggestions for future episodes. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out any future episodes. We upload every Wednesday and Saturday.
If you'd like to send us a message or subscribe for bonus content, check out the links in the description.
Your support means a lot and helps keep the conversation going.
If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to leave us a review. It helps us out a ton, and we love hearing your thoughts.
Until next time, keep your popcorn close.
And your movie critiques closer.
Thanks for listening to Popcorn Unscripted.